All right, the day before. Speaking of Game of the Year 2024, I mean, Scott, take us back. Take us back to the very first trailer that you saw and just all the emotions, everything that came to your mind that flooded in when you saw this masterpiece. Tease to us day one. What did you think?
Scott.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
Take your time.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know whether to cry or vomit or scream or just like do all three and hope I just all my anger out.
Damn. Yep.
Because I do not feel like I have been let down like this before with a game. I, as a huge zombie fan, number one, and then switching out of MMOs for a while and diving into survival and seeing those two worlds collide, like I've been predicting, that trailer ignited my desire to game that I hadn't felt in a long time. And to just end up here now, like, seriously, man, like, it's like going from the complete opposite side of the spectrum to like they flat out lied. That's the biggest takeaway. They lied to our faces from the very beginning. That was not even actual gameplay. It was pre-rent. Like, this is they flat out lied, and I am so sick of that in general. I didn't think it could get much worse than Anthem or the Avengers game. Like, look at the Anthem trailer that they first launched that time. Another lie. But at least that game had a game. No matter how poor it still was kind of a completed. This was like, you could tell, this was like a Frankenstein game. It's like, I'm going to take assets from here, there, and
okay. Before we get to the sad state, but what I want to know though, why are you so mad? Like, what was it about this game in particular, guys, that was like, wow, this is the one? Like, no one has done this. Like, this is totally unique, or it's just like these graphics, or they stated this is like an MMO. Was it like, oh, this is like DayZ but like MMO style? Like, I don't know. Yeah, Chase, take it. What do you think?
They literally made it look like it was going to be a massively multiplayer online zombie game. And they defined it as such. And it literally was a bamboozle in the biggest sense of the word. Because like they took everything that they had on that trailer and they got everybody, including Scott. I didn't get too caught up in the hype because I was very hesitant at first. I'm always... I've been burned too many times by games, and I know in the back of my mind, I'm always like, just wait till it launches, wait till it launches, wait till it launches, see how it plays out, give it a week, that patient gamer mentality, but I saw how hyped Scott was, and I was like, damn, this is going to be rough. And it was, and it just, God, it was just
nothing in that trailer was in the actual game.
Zero. And like, I think, Scott, we watched, there's probably 3 or 4 different streamers I was watching in day one. And I'm just like, this is nothing. This is literally an asset flip. They literally took existing assets, plugged them in and said, here, we got a game. Like, I think the only part of it was that with the hub world was the only thing that had some semblance of like, they at least started something. But you go outside of that, it's like,
it took them 5 years to do that.
Yeah, like it was unbelievable how bad, and it's like, well, we can go deeper than that.
But Coltrane,
yes. I mean, yes.
Didn't we see the signs? I mean, aren't we shouldn't we be blaming ourselves? Is it
Right. Yes.
is it really
of course.
their fault?
Right.
The
It's
chicken
our
fault?
fault. Yes.
mean,
you're totally right.
I mean, the
Yes.
delays. We saw the delays.
Yeah.
You know, so many delays.
But how do we know? How do we as gamers know? This to me, this was the Division 2. This was like the Division 3 for me. It was like this is the Division 2 zombified, right? Open world MMO, Division 2, that CQB, that close quarters combat. It's got the, a mixture of DayZ, it's got everything else in it. I was just as much on the hype train. Now you look at gameplay that they're calling gameplay. How are we supposed to know? I mean, back in the day, they would say, here's gameplay, but like the camera's moving a little smooth to be. This looks a little pre-rendered. You know what I mean? But they've gotten better and better and better. So their dev time seemed to be creating these great cutscenes labeled as gameplay rather than actually working on the gameplay. Yep. Anyway, I'm sorry. I got a little Scotty in me there. I apologize. Got a little fired up.
It's understandable, but I do want to go back. I think I'll just say the first time I saw the trailer, exactly what you said, Coltrane.
Yeah.
I thought DayZ meets Division. This is like what I saw in my head, and I saw the guy. You're driving through the city, right?
Yep.
You see the raindrops hitting the puddles. Yeah. You're crouch walking into the drugstore, the pharmacy to loot and stuff, and you're throwing grenades and you're taking people out. And I was like, man, this looks legit. First of all, I was just happy for Scotty. I was like, because it's the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, this is Scotty's game. Like, he's gonna love this. I was like, I'm not in love with zombie games, but I'm like, yeah, Scott's gonna like this. I can see where there's a whole subset of gamers who this is like their dream game.
We did a video
right?
on it, and you can see how excited I was.
We got a happy Scott. That's all we want. We want a happy Scott.
That's right.
I'm happy everyone's happy.
The delay happened, right? We got a delay. And then we got another delay, right? And then people are like, oh, well, let's go look at their back catalog of games. And you know what? It wasn't a very good picture of what they had put out before. You know what I mean? And so, there's some things adding up here and some clues that are telling. And then they have this trademark issue, which their game was not trademarked in the US. So they had to remove it. Now the game is off of Steam. You can't wishlist it anymore. Yeah. Now there's reports that, we actually have volunteer devs working on our game. And I think at this point, if you really thought the game was going to be anything, I mean, I know people wanted it to be great, and I understand. I totally get it. Because I've been in that place with games where I just, you want it so bad, but it's just out of reach. And so, can anyone have predicted? Go ahead, Scott.
This is how sad I am that I'm trying to rationalize it to give me some closure. I'm like, I want to think that when this game did start out, it did have that goal of being what it said it was going to be. I want to believe that it wasn't a scam from the beginning just to feel a little bit better. But I really don't think I can now. Like, this is the worst launch of a game I've ever seen.
I mean, truthfully, a scam means that you would make money. And at this point, they're reportedly, but they're saying they're refunding now. So it's a weird okay, so they're refunding everybody. And it's at I think 98% have been refunded. Wow. I'm not saying they're in the right because they screwed everybody over. I mean, investors are going to come.
Why do this for 5 years? That's my
the
question.
Weird part. There's something weird here.
I have a theory. What's the term when you're? What is it when you're so incompetent? Is it gross negligence?
Gross negligence. Yep.
It's just as bad as defrauding or fraud in a way.
Yep.
I think they put together an incredible trailer. Yeah. And they did a vertical slice and they used assets and they did what studios are good at doing now. They make this incredible looking, it says rendered in game or whatever, but you're like, this isn't what the game looks like. And I just don't think they were prepared for the response that they got from that trailer. And I think from there, it was a downhill just disaster. They were not a studio prepared to make this type of game. I think they had a good idea. Yeah. But I think they were kind of in too deep after the trailer hit because it became the #1 wishlisted game on Steam. Like incredible, off one, teaser trailer,
Yeah.
kind of a thing. So
There's something
I don't
there's
know.
something there's something in the marketing world that they call you build the plane as it's flying. And I think that's what they're
Hmm.
doing here. But in the developer gaming world, I don't think that flies. I think you really have to have a good, solid team of whether it's 5 guys or, 5 people or 1,000 people. I've seen developers from all ranges of, size creating incredible products.
Yeah.
They just, to your point, Tom, probably didn't have the talent, and obviously they were hiring, outsourced developers and trying to build the plane while it was flying, and that inherently just backfired on them. You're absolutely right. They probably bit off more they can chew, and got to a point. I mean, even on Twitter right now, they're backtracking in a lot of things. They're saying, "Oh, it was our first experience." It happens, and it's like that's so disingenuous. That's so messed up. Like that's so messed up. Like it's like, come on.
I think you can build the plane while it flies, Chase, but I
Yeah.
think that has to be your plan from the beginning,
Yes.
right?
100%.
We see some games out there in open development doing their thing, but Coltrane, this wasn't the case, was it? I mean,
No,
they didn't have a plan.
I love what Scott's saying. You want to believe. You want to believe
Yeah.
that at the heart of this, there was something genuine, something pure. No one wants to believe that there's evil in the world, right? That when something it's offered is wonderful and pure and great, who ruins it? Humans, right? Every time, right? Any kind of, even in gaming, they'll come up with some new system, they'll put into a game with the purest intentions. Players will find a way to ruin it.
Well, I can't see how they're going to be trusted after this, first of all. And I think this is it's a really bad rap for the hundreds of thousands of indie developers out there who are trying to make really good games.
Yeah.
But I think as gamers as well, I mean, we're consumers. We want a good product. We want to give our money to a good developer, and we want to get fair exchange, for what we want. And it's getting tough to
It's so
have
simple.
to be
If you want people to spend their money, make a good game.
Well, on to the next one.
Cut the cameras. Just